Hey everyone, it's Amy Dugan here, and today I just want to talk to you about the myth of thinking big. So, you always hear advice out there, people being like, oh, dream big, think really big, think bigger. And then what that leads to is just giving up, feeling overwhelmed, and just quitting. So, what you need to do instead of just thinking of the biggest thing you can think of and working towards that is what is the next step? What's the next thing in front of you to get you to your ultimate goal, your ultimate chief aim? So, your goal that you focus on is always the next thing in front of you. So, it's like you only walk towards what you can see, right? Like if you're on a run, you're aiming for the mountain right in front of you. How can you aim for the mountain like hundreds of miles past that? Right? So same goes for business. So you have your chief aim in mind. So maybe your chief aim is I want to build, a seven-figure business that impacts, this niche. Okay. Well, where are you at right now? Obviously, if you're at like 10K months, your chief aim shouldn't be, or your next step in front of you shouldn't be seven figures, right? Your next step in front of you might be, okay, now I want to hit 20K months, right? Or now I want to hit 30K months. And then you keep working your way up to the chief aim, but you're always focused on the next thing in front of you. And then second is you do want to have a chief aim. So you don't know what the next thing to work on in front of you is if you don't know what ultimate direction you're heading in. So what I like to do is create a mantra that's like your go-to high-level view of what you want. So my mantra for years was I want to have a successful remote business that allows me to work from anywhere in the world and, impact people that I care about helping, right? So it's like, that's my mantra. If someone says, Amy, what do you want? Boom, I can say that exact line in a second. And I've been able to do that and accomplish that, right? But it's always like at the forefront of my mind on like past what my next step to get to that is, right? So it's just like the saying that I always say, don't stare at the mountain, look at your boots. And then next is just developing a belief and letting your belief system steer you to what your next goal is. So for example, get out a piece of paper and write a list of every single thing that you want. Everything from like small goals to big, crazy, huge goals that seem completely impossible. And go through the entire list. And on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being zero belief pretty much that you can make this happen, let's say in the next like 6 months, and 10 being I can definitely do this, right? In the next 6 months, let's say. But you don't want to put a specific date on it, but just, generally. So then once you've written out all the numbers, circle everything between an 8 and a 10. And focus on those as your next steps. Once you accomplish all the things that are between an 8 and a 10, your belief for all of the other things on that list are going to go up. So then you're going to cross out all those numbers. So things that maybe used to be a 4 might become a 6. Things that used to be a 6 might become an 8. And then you're going to circle those things and focus on those next. And then essentially you just keep on doing that until one day you've literally accomplished every single thing on that list that you wrote. And this happened to me, and I use this exercise all the time. So I wrote out all my goals. I've been doing this exercise forever. And every single time I cross out everything on my list with that belief exercise. And there's always things on the list that I'm like, no way can I do that. And it's like a 1 or a 2. And then 6 months, 12 months, 2 years later, it gets crossed off. So that exercise is super powerful. I would recommend doing that with everything that you want in your life. But it really puts in perspective that you have to focus on the things you can see, the things you have belief in before moving on to the next step. And you need to develop your belief system because believing is seeing. Seeing isn't believing. You know what I mean? So anyways, I hope that helps with the myth of like thinking really big because a lot of people get discouraged with that advice. So I hope that helps you take the next step and start making progress towards whatever your chief aim is. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.